Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my first lore review. Well, not lore review in this case, more of a lore session for my channel. This is going to be the first one, and considering October was nearby and this took time making on its own, I'm pretty sure it'll be past the Halloween season, but I thought it would be fitting to put up a very a spooky Sith Lord for our first video that we almost ever gonna make. So, this is kind of a test as well, because I do want to do some other lores as well, considering from now on. But let's see how this goes and how you guys like it. See how it basically fans out, and yeah, let's get into it, shall we not? So, Darth Nihilus. In order to get to explaining this man's emo-ness and stuff like that, we need to look at the context of how he became Nihilus, where he got his name from, and what the fuck happened during all the galactic shitfest that is the Old Republic. I mean, to be honest with you, the Star Wars universe has always been on fucking fire, usually, and there was never been a too peaceful era, except for after, pretty sure the Brotherhood of Darkness was defeated, and Bane took over as a rule of two, but that is a story for a different time. I would talk about that in later lore video about when I talk about Darth Reavn. Anyways, today we are talking about Darth Nihilus, so let's give it a quick, actually not really quick contest, is it? I'm gonna give you some little bit of a deep, but anally bad, all things considered, overview of what the Mandalorian Wars, which is where Nihilus' origins basically lies in. Anyways, so the Mandalorian Wars. This was basically a conflict fought by the Republic and, well, Mandalorians, duh, and in 3000 BBY. By the way, if you don't know what BBY means, it means before Battle of Yavin. So if you don't know, all Star Wars calendar originates from basically 0 BBY, basically the Jesus Christ, the 0 BC thing, is the Battle of Yavin. Ironically enough, instead of a man getting crucified, no, actually, never mind, it was born, isn't it? Never mind, excuse me. A man being born, it was a fucking man-made artificial Death Star getting blown up by a teenager. Well, what a subtle difference, I guess. Anyways, so, basically, the Mandalorians went up on a basically conquest spree, more in the line of brutal conquest spree. Here's the thing with the Neo Crusaders, as they were called by then. They were led by the Mandalore the Ultimate, and they were in some deep doo-doo after the Mandalore the Ultimate got fucked over by a certain dark apparition from an unknown region. Now, I'll get into depth when I talk about Revan. Right now, I'm gonna tell that. But anyways, so the Dark Voices said, "Hey dude, I think it's a fucking cool idea. Let's go on a big-ass crusade on the galaxy, literally pillage everything, and then let's just fuck everything up just for the loss." And the Ultimate just said, that might not be a bad idea. So they went on basically a crusade. Ironically enough, that's what they called it, the Neo Crusaders. Well, and the things they did, oof. Very, very bad. So basically, they went around the world, start conquering their nearby homeworlds. They gained more and more momentum, and basically what they did is, if they fought a species which is worth their attention, if we say they're brave enough, they're warrior enough, then they would integrate him into the society. If they're not, well, slave time you go. Basically, concentration camps. Basically, they are space Spartans in the most literal way. Yes, I think that is a good analogy in this case. If you know why the Spartan analogy works here, is because, well, the treatment of their slaves for the Spartans, if you look that up, that shit is just brutal. The Hilak treatment, oh, yeah, that shit was brutal. I think that is a good comparison. And speaking of brutality, well, some of the commanders, Neo Crusader commanders, such as a very famous gold fuckboy called Cassius Fett, he's not Boba Fett's grandfather. I am sorry to say this, but he's not related. Or Jango Fett, it doesn't matter. But this famous old man with a golden asshole, was it basically started to kill everyone. Like, as in terms of extermination of populations, just for the lulz, because they're considered too pathetic to even exist, so they were considered offensive to the Mandalorians. Oh. Well, this also awfully became a little bit more, well, World War II-ish, isn't it? To the gulags with you kind of thing? Yeah, it's kind of fucking bad. Anyways, so basically I went on a rampage. One of the planets, got fucked over by Cassius Fett, and, well, you know, basically the Jedi found it. Oh, I do need to give you context of what the fuck the Jedi were doing. And, like, the good old days, nothing. They haven't been doing anything, like, fucking at all. Like, they just sit down there and say stuff like, okay, I'm just gonna sit my ass here, do jack all, and just see what happens. I mean, typical of the Jedi to do this, because they're fucking morons, considering how they dealt with shit, considering everything. They're not thorough enough, usually. I mean, I have a whole variety of rants about the Jedi being, like, retards, quite a bit. But this is definitely one of those cases, where the Mandalorian Neo-Crusaders were literally killing people for the lulz, and they just sat down and just said, nah, fam, it ain't my thing, it ain't my problem. It's just my personal fucking opinion. Pretty retarded. Well, moving on from that situation, well, there was, of course, rebels. You wouldn't expect the Jedis to be uniformly agreeing with the whole thing. This is the Council's agreement, not the, well, individual Jedi's agreement. So some of the Jedi just went, nah, fuck this shit. This is dumb. I need to go in and rescue these people. One of them, called, well, we don't know his name, his initial name is unknown, but soon to be Revan, by the way. I need to go over a little bit of his lore to give you context of the Mandalorian Wars. It basically just said, okay, I'm gonna make a movement called the Revanite Movement. Jedis who think this is so fucking wrong, please get around so we can lead the Jedi task force against these sons of bitches and stop them from approaching into the core sectors, basically. They went to the planet, even though despite the hideous protests of the Jedi Council and saying, no, we ain't getting involved in this, fuck off. So they sent a task force saying, okay, capture these guys alive, bring them to the fucking council. But while they were doing that, they went to one of the worlds, and soon to be Revan, well, now Revan at this point, caught a glimpse of a fallen Mandalorian mask. He picked it up, and he basically saw a vision where this Mandalorian female warrior, actually, tried to stop one of the genocides enacted by Cassius Fett. And then she got butchered for it because she tried to stop, like, okay, this is not even a warrior, like, we are just killing for the sake of it, like, this is not what we're supposed to do, we are warriors, not butchers, but, well, Cassius Fett being a little piece of shit he is, he just said, you're no fun, and he just killed him, basically. And, that mask was there. Reva picked him up, and after seeing the visions, all the Jedis around it saw that vision at the same time, and Revan, picking up her mask, and said, I will not rest until the Mandalorian New Crusaders has been utterly defeated. So that is basically the beginning of how Revan became the very famous general during the Mandalorian Wars, and his illustrious careers afterwards, which I will gloss over this time. Now, this, our main story, Nihlus, is going to start from one of the final battles of the Mandalorian War, especially on a planet named Malachor 5. If you are familiar with this planet, you would know this planet looks like a very fucked up cookie, in a sense. A very bold, fucked up cookie. Its very cracks are everywhere, it looks almost as if it's moldy, something like that. Something along the lines of that, I guess. And, well, here is the thing. During the Battle of Malachor, which is the final showdown of it, there was this super weapon called the Mass Shadow Generator. Now, if you don't know what the Mass Shadow is basically an artificial gravity made by planets So it is being told by many pilots that, yeah, if you get caught in a mass shadow during hyperspace, you're fucked. Like, you're literally fucked, as in terms of you slam into artificial gravity and you get crushed, kind of fucked. So very not nice in this case. So basically, this mass shadow generator was designed specifically for Malachor, because Malachor 5 itself is very unstable. Well, mass shadow. It is a very unstable gravity was it gravity well, and it was far vicious than any others. So when this weapon was activated, it basically made a gravity so dense that all the ships around Malachor was pulled into it, virtually annihilating the Mandalorian fleet, as well as quite a bit of Republic fleet, by the way. Oh, and another thing, the Jedi who was in charge, well, the Jedi commander who was in charge of this particular engagement was Mitra Surik. Now, you'll need to remember this name for a bit, or if you played KOTOR already, you would know where this is going. But basically, just everything was just murdered. Mandalorian Neo Crusader were stopped by Deadism Track because they had ran out of resources against the Revan's forces, and this was just the end of it. Well, here's the thing. There was a land battle going on as well, because, you know, planetary surface to planet, orbital weapons are quite important during a naval engagement. Who knew? So there were considerable land elements were engaged on the land battle, basically on Malachor. But, well, mass shadow generator activated. So see what happens if tens and thousands of few hundred ships just crash into the surface. See what happens to the land forces? Well, it's predictable results, I guess. It's almost as if Hiroshima times 10 in this case. Yeah, that would be a little bit, a cherry on top. Oh, make a little bit of a news again. Mandalorians did use extensively nuclear weapons during their conquest, so a fair bit of nuke should have went off when the collision happened. So Hiroshima times 10 would be understatement in this case, considering it was massive fuck-off ships just slamming into the, Malachor surface. You have to think about the generators, the shield just popping off every single then. Yeah, let's just say it was a very shitty place. And in that very shitty place was a human male who literally lost everything during the war. Family, loved ones, even his will to live. Yeah. Basically, he was in a very shitty position. And, of course, getting almost fucked by the Malachor as Mass Shadow was definitely not helping his case, wasn't it? Now, how he survived the world-ending super weapon? We don't know. Don't ask me, he just survived. Mary Sue? Not so sure because there was quite a bit of survivors in Malachor 5, but he survived somehow. Don't know how. We don't ask those questions. Now, because he was such a fucking devoted man, he was just outright in the most depressed fucking man you would see in Malachor, even though how shitty it was. And adding to that was he was a force sensitive. He was now a thing called wound in the force. The wound in the force basically is that if you are so distraught, you're so mentally just pained by your losses, you are basically devoid of your personal identity. So you're in constant fucking pain. Your force craves something. It's in a sense of like hunger. So he basically started to go out for the survivors and started eating them. Quite literally, just sucking their souls out. Now this is emo as fuck, if I would tell you. Like, I would say that level of emo is quite a bit like a goth girl emo level. Like, it is quite emo. I can't express how emo this is. I mean, in essence, this is Space Dracula as hell. It's like gothic as fuck. Okay, maybe not as emo as much as you would think, but pretty emo still, I think, personal opinion-wise. But he started to eat other survivors. Why? Because for the laws, apparently. But first of all, he was hungry. The first time he did it, the man soon to be named Nihilus, we don't know his original name, he just sucked the man off, figuratively and most literally in this case. Yes, yes, this was a joke. This was a sex joke, and you may take it as such. Basically, he felt very uncomfortable initially, but it calmed his pain down for a while. But then again, as all good things do, it ended in a visceral manner, and then it all went back to good old-fashioned pain, suffering, and yada yada yada. And it become worse. How nice. So he started to hunt for other survivors just to alleviate his pain. Now, space force vampirism in this case is quite a bit unique because, well, you never see this except for Vitiate himself. But the fact that a scary, basically a half-torn, just dead man just sucking people off in the most metaphysical and most literal way possible is pretty dope. Pretty fucking dope. KOTOR did really well making his story. Now, another cherry on top was the fact that he couldn't leave the planet. The mass generator was so strong that any ship targeting entering it was... well, he can't. There was no active ships, and if there even was, he can't leave. The artificial gravity was just too powerful. The mass shadow generator basically fucked over the planet's gravity well. Completely. And there was no getting out of it. Now, while this was happening... Revan also got mind-fucked by a certain person, a shadowy apparition in the unknown regions, and did a whole Jedi Civil War thing. Basically, he named himself Darth and just like, nah, man, I'm gonna be this just cool-ass fucking man. And got with 2 lightsabers. That is a lot of lightsabers. So many lightsabers. Lightsabers for days, in my personal opinion. Like, Revan basically did a whole emo thing, went against the opposite Jedi, and did quite a number on them. Well, but, as all things are, Revan got fucking defeated. No shit, Sherlock. Everyone could see that coming, considering everything. And his Sith Empire, which he created during his campaigns, was fractured. In one of those fractures, there was a Twi'lek Sith Lord called Darth Reavn. Well, Darth Reavn basically was, okay, how the fuck do I reclaim all that and destroy the emo piece of shit Jedis? Oh, I fucking know. I sent something in Malachor. Let's go there to investigate. And Darth Reavn did. There she found a very odd Force user. In this case, this man who was literally sucking people off of their life force. That's something. That's definitely not normal. Definitely not normal. Reavn basically started saying, okay, my dude, my homie, your shit is force related. I'm gonna teach you. You come with me, and we're gonna get pimped as fuck as a Sith Lord. And well, no reason to refuse. And somehow there's a chance she got into the planet somehow. Maybe force. I don't fucking know. She somehow got in there, got him out, and stuff like that. Don't ask me these questions. It's just plot conveniences, I guess, in this scenario. While Reavn was going out, she found almost a very, very nice man, who's soon to be named Darth Sion. Now, the Nihilus and Sion trained together and became kind of best buds in this case. Now, well, unlike some shitty enemies, this school, Sith school, had no such events such as beach episodes, no nude episodes, no accidental ecchi episodes or anything like that. No cock blocking, no bullshit shenanigans, and I'm certainly fucking looking at you, Chunibyo. Demo koi ga shitai. Okay, That was my anime rant. Let's go back to the image. But instead, this academy was a Sith academy. If you know anything about Sith, it's all about pain, suffering, and meditation. Being a dickhole. Being basically the most edgiest shit possible, basically. In this case, this edginess actually does give you the edge to kill people, but, well, that's the part of it, isn't it? Well, Nihilus basically chose his name, and he chose a title called Darth of Hunger. Aptly so. It makes his emo level go up quite a bit, but, well, what he's going to be soon doing in the future, it's a very, very suiting name, personal opinion-wise. And Darth Sion. They basically trained each other, and in the end, they became quite a powerful trio, and they called themselves the Sith Triumvirate. Very subtle. You know, just subtle references to the first triumvirate of the Romans. Really. You could have went something else, but triumvirate? Sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a fucking good name. I totally agree with that, but, well, details, I guess. Now, Nihilus, after getting trained, pimped up properly by Darth Traya herself, he started to go out on the planets. And on the orbit of the planet, he basically did a dark ritual and started to eat everything. Quite literally. He devoured planets. No, not as in terms of he eat the planet and the planet is gone type more. I'm talking about eat everything that's alive on the planet. Humans, aliens, plants, doesn't matter. Anything that lives, died. And he just eat it. And every time he does, he got powerful, and more powerful, and more powerful. And like an beast man, he sought out more food. More food. He became more hungry. Far more hungry than more normal human would be. It was getting to the point that it was a goddamn threat, that's for sure. And his power grew as well. Almost to the point that he rivaled Traya and almost surpassed her. Now, another thing that was going on was the Triumvirate had a very lackey relationship at the best of times, but Traya's response to how to defeat the Jedi were slow, methodic, and long-term. And Nihilus and Sion was like, fuck that shit. We are going in rough. Like, first annual, but no loops whatsoever, and highly sudden and highly unconsensual back alley annual. I'm talking about rough annual. And these core, differences in opinion kind of fractured their relationship. And Nihilus and Sion, as all Sith traditions tend to do, betrayed his master. Sion defeated her, and Nihilus basically severed her connection to the Force. And basically exiled her. Now, my question is, why the fuck wouldn't you kill her? Considering she is even though she is not a Force threat, her knowledge in the inside works of the Sith Empire, as well as where their bases is and how they operate, should be significant. Mercy is not the best of things, and I don't know why Nihilus and Sion decided to do that. Maybe it was for humiliations? But I see more trouble letting her alive than, just kill her. Straight out. Just easier. And like all good villains tend to be, they get stabbed in the this kind of, bites in their ass quite ferociously in the later times. Well, now that Traya has been officially fucking exiled from the Empire, which she was basically the leader of the Sith Empire at this point, the little bunnies, the little Sith offsprings, basically the little minor Sith, started to do, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do my own shit, and basically did the fracture thing all over again. Why can't people just stay together? Like, people, I tell you. Even Sith. I mean, Sith are worse at this point. And, well, Nihilus and Scion initially thought, well, now we can do whatever the fuck we want. We can just go and kill a bunch of shit. Scion basically went on a coordinate rampage. If you don't know what the coordinates is, a 40k reference. Basically what I'm saying is he killed everything on sight. Any Jedi that he tried to find, he just tried to murder them. Nihilus just went off like, you know what, I'm just gonna be big, fat, obese man. I'm gonna eat literally everything. And like a man, like an very obese man who just found a huge fountain of just fried potatoes, this uncontrollable mass of flesh basically started munching on it. But in this case, Nihilus just started to eat everything he sees, every planet he encounters. Now, in order to achieve this, he had to have a fleet, obviously. Now, where did he get his fleet? Well, basically, he went back to Malachor, and thinking his nostalgia is a thing, and just like, you know what, I'm just gonna take some of these scraps, use the Force, and basically, essentially, duct tape, flex tape these things, and I'm gonna make a fleet out of it. Now, I am definitely not an engineer. Definitely not a ship engineer. I don't know much about anything. But I would say the working conditions on these ships, which are essentially just big chunks of metal, basically on Force flex tapes, is not really conducive to good health conditions, isn't there? I'm not sure how this works. But hey, details. Like, it's totally not as if generators need couple cabling, of course. Of course, none of those things are required. Force field that requires shield generator requires to have a huge singular mass. Hull integrity. What the fuck does that even mean? You know what? You just put flex tape and it's good to go. It's good to go. I don't know what? That's just, yeah. And that's what he basically decided to. He put some dudes in there just to man it, but, well, shitty for them, because Nihlus' power was getting so powerful to the point that anything that was around him was losing their sense of self, and almost was becoming a thrall naturally by nearing him. Yeah, this man was becoming something else at this point. And to make things worse, his hunger as well as his dark side influences became so potent and corrupted, his body was wearing out. His body couldn't keep up with the dark side anymore. So, well, what he decided to do was just rip his fucking soul out from his body and just put it into his mask and his robes. So, he just basically doesn't need a body anymore. He's just a floating piece of face mask, robe, and a lightsaber. Yeah, pretty cool, isn't it? It's like Nazgul in a sense, but a little bit more hungry. Like, a lot more hungry. Now, these two absolutely getting pimped over their fucking rampage over the Republic and the Jedi. Basically united to just reunite the Sith Empire, obviously because they're your top dogs, and if you don't want to get fucked by them, you'll join them. And they started to pump out little Sith like fucking rabbits. They're literally everywhere. And of course, because of this, the Jedi were on quite a bit of pickle. They're losing their numbers way too quickly. And the rest of the Jedi Council basically just thought, okay, well, we gotta do something. And a certain Jedi named Mirluka. Never mind. That was not the Jedi name. That was the spot name. Excuse me. The Jedi name was Atris. Sorry. So this Jedi thought it was an absolutely fucking great idea to lure the Sith into a pitched battle, even though they are outnumbered, like severely. That is a great plan. Great tactical flexibility. Congrats, Atris. And like all Jedi schemings tend to do, it fucking failed catastrophically. Sensing a bunch of fucking Jedis, Nihilus just thought, ooh, food. And he just went there. And as soon as he entered orbit, it just, all the Jedi is like, oh, I feel this fucking terrible energy. Wait a second. Why do I feel like my soul is getting sucked up? Oh shit, my soul is dead. I'm dead. They got wiped out. Great fucking job, Jedi. I mean, Atris, prompts to you for wiping out the Jedi Order. You're as bad as Anakin Skywalker at this point. Oh, ironically enough, this was called the First Jedi Purge. Well, Atris, you done fucked up. Ah. You one just special Jedi. Jedi are not good at whole scheming thing. They really are not. Anyway, after massacring the fuck out of all Jedis, Nihilus just thought, okay, let's see the fruit of my work. Went down to the fucking planet and oddly found a single living being. A single living being. Now you have to remember, this is not the most dense world. This is not Coruscant or one of the core worlds. This was certainly, you know, a fringe world. But this is still a planet. At least a few million would be living here. But only one survived. By Nihilus. Amazing. And this one special little lady, named Visas Mar, was, well, basically in a almost dead situation. She was very injured. And Nihilus thought, huh, neat. I think I'm just gonna take her, eat her back to my ship, and basically do some shit. So she basically just took her, put her in his main flagship called the Ravager. Love the name, by the way. It's emo and edgy as it sounds. Ravager. Ravager of the worlds, in this case. Sounds really cool. Nice name. And, well, basically, when Mar woke up after her injuries were healed, basically went out of Sith Lord and like, why did you save me? And the Sith Lord just looking at her and is like, didn't say anything, just shared a vision with her. And shared a vision of how Nihilus saw the galaxy. At this point, Nihilus is not really a living entity, more of just a very hungry consciousness of just pure embodiment of the dark side. So it was not really... It was very eerie, to say the fucking least. And that vision kind of fucked Mar over. Like, as in, well, carving her eyes out of their sockets kind of fucked over. Yes, I know, this is getting dark. And they basically made a force connection by doing this kind of a half-sacrificial ritual. Mar was agreed to be trained by a Sith and become this thing called Shadowhand, basically agent operative. This tradition goes down to when Palpatine becomes his ruler and uses, what do you call it? The Emperor's Hand. Same thing, basically. And by doing this, the Force Bond, as it's called, with Nihilus was just very powerful. This could be either for their detriment or they're powerful, because they can sense each other in a more closer connection. They are more connected to a single individual rather than a dual entity in this case. Well, now, doing all this, there was the civil war in Onderon, and Onderon is basically saying, fuck the Republic, we're gonna succeed. And the Republic said, no, you're not gonna succeed. No. You get your ass back here. And they were having a fucking civil war. Nihilus thinking that, ooh, chance. And sorry to back up the separatists, basically, in this case. And there was a lot of shit to do in there. Well, basically the whole Onderon war was basically being supported by situation. Nihilus just found something very disturbing. Like as if some Jedi, a powerful Jedi, was coming back to him. And he sent her fucking hand, Mar, in this case, to go and investigate and annihilate this thing. This this thing he sensed was Mitra Surik, the Jedi who led the final battle in the almost at Malachor. Now, she was exiled because she was, she was involved in the Mandalorian Wars. What a fucking good thing to do. Good PR promotion. Just kicking off one of the heroes of the Mandalorian Wars. Good way to get your public on the side. Good job. Apparently Jedi doesn't understand what PR means. Yeah, certainly doesn't. I mean, considering what they do in their downfall, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, Mar tracked down Surik, who was under the guidance of Darth Traya, who thought, like, those bitches thought it was a good idea for betray me. Nah, I'm gonna get my Sith Empire back. And using Mitra Surik, she basically taught her everything she knew. And Surik became quite a bit powerful at that one. And when Mar encountered Surik and was defeated, Surik basically said, I need you. Come to my side. And that's just what happened. Why? Don't fucking know. I need to play the game. To be honest with you, I haven't played the game yet, so I need to see the dialogue, particularly in this case. But she was convinced thoroughly that by Mitra Surik and basically joined him. And this kind of winkled Nihilus quite a bit. Oof, Nihilus would have felt, this sly son of a bitch. Now she's feeling what Traya felt. Okay, now going back to the Onderan Civil War, with the help from Mandalore the Preserver and his Mandalorian clan, secret nearby planet called Duxon, the whole separatist movement was outright crushed. The invasion was annihilated, and the planet was firmly back under Republic control. After that, the guy called Colonel Tobin basically told Nihilus, mate, there's a Jedi Academy in Telos 4. Go there and fucking kill it. Now, this information was a leak by Kreia. By Kreia. Which is Traya. They just changed her name back. Apparently, Kreia was her original name. Huh. Original. Kreia, Traya, same thing. Anyways, they basically lured Nihilus' fleet into that area on Telos 4. And the Republic Navy, as well as the Mandalorians, along with Mitra Surik, Mandalore the Preserver, Mar, and every important person in that you can possibly get their hands on, did a major battle in Telos 4. The battle went very well, and Mandalore the Preserver, Mitra Surik, Mar, and his Mandalorians basically boarded the Nihilus' flagship, the Ravager, where they basically found out that the entire crew was just outright enthralled. They're basically 4 zombies at this point. They're just, I worked ship maintenance, which is very hazardous, oh god. Yeah. And they basically fought. Nihilus tried to observe Surik force, obviously, as you do, and tried to do that. Tried to suck her off in this case. And yes, this is a joke. I will reuse this joke as much as I want. But here's the thing with the Surik. She draws her energy around surrounding her. Basically, she can become more powerful as more people and more entity with force around her was surrounded she is. And along with Mar being there and basically abusing the force bond that Nihilus and Mar had, and weakening the Sith Lord, they managed to kill him, quote unquote. And they detonated the Ravager. Well, here's the thing. Nihilus is not dead. Technically speaking. He is dead in a sense that he's not leading a Sith, or he's not really actively a threat, but his spirit, it's still inside his armor, and was not destroyed, and it was a capital ship destroyed. It was retrieved by some mystical forces, and was buried on Korriban, the Sith homeworld. And now here's the thing with the Korriban. This planet is so seeped with the dark side. It's basically the dark side's homeworld. It basically anything that comes in here gets instantaneously touched by the malignant power of the dark side immediately. And within this corporeal plane, and he was buried there, as all major Sith, like such as major Sith like Exar Kun, Naga Shadow, Bane, any great Sith were practically buried here at this point. He's technically not dead, which means if someone ever was stupid enough to give him some armor, he would get back up immediately. Now that is a speculation. Now, some interesting thing about Nihilus afterwards is, well, after Nihilus was defeated and he was dead, he made a holocron. We don't know when exactly. We theorize that this was during his illustrious career while devouring the worlds. But Nihilus made holocrons, and this holocron was used by Darth Reavn after the Fell Empire. Now that is a whole new lore series during the whole covering the Legacy era, where Luke Skywalker is dead. Basically, his descendants are there, and this is the story after several decades after Luke Skywalker, basically. Several a few hundred years, if I remember correctly. So you would see him there in one of his comics. Anyways, that was my lore story for Nihilus. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for coming in. And again, I'll see you next time. Have a nice one.